girls, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be about BPD, borderline personality disorder, and my personal life experience having this disorder and what it was like for me to get diagnosed with it. And I'm going to also share some tips and skills I've learned from doing DBT therapy, which I think was the best therapy that has helped me the most. I'm sorry if you hear clicking, it's just Rudy. But but I would say DBT therapy really saved me. Even though this program was a lot to go through, I went through this whole workbook twice. I think it took about 2 years of taking this. And I know that sounds long, but I think it was really worth it, especially with how I'm able to manage things now. Stuff can still, be hard, and I still have my episodes and still have all the symptoms of BPD, but I'm able to manage it more because of this. So I wrote down some things, and I wrote down the questions that you guys are asking me about BPD and some things I can talk about. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. So to start this video, I'm going to first share my personal experience with getting diagnosed with BPD and kind of my story, just the overview, not everything in detail, just important stuff that has to do with BPD. I believe it can happen through mostly a traumatic childhood events is what can cause you to have BPD, plus it also can be genetic, is what I've heard. So I feel maybe mine was a mix of all that stuff, but definitely childhood trauma was the main thing I would say that probably had me develop BPD, or this chemical imbalance, or maybe I was born with it. I'm not really sure, but I know that significant trauma when you're young can cause you to develop this disorder. I would say the main trauma that caused me to probably have this was bullying at a very young age, just being severely bullied by others, never being accepted, feeling like an outcast, feeling like nothing I did was good enough. Yeah, I would say it was mostly childhood trauma with bullying was the biggest event that happened to me throughout my childhood, and it didn't really stop until I moved out of my hometown and I moved to California. Things happened and we had to eventually move back, so I'm back in my hometown. But getting away from everybody definitely helped me escape this bullying and feeling like an outsider. I was always seeking for validation. I just wanted someone to like me, since I felt like no one liked me at the time when I was young. I was seeking for validation that I was doing the right thing, that I was a good enough kid. And the teachers when I was young were really strict and wouldn't say the nicest things to kids. And I think that definitely still affects me to this day. I still have strong memories from certain events of teachers being really mean to me and some other kids. And when I got to middle school, I think that's when things took a turn for the worst, and I got introduced to social media. There was, ways for people to bully me online. And as a kid, it's very easy to just see these things and believe everything that people are saying to you, even though people are probably just hating or it's trolls. It really affected me. I was getting just told everyday terrible things like I'm ugly, I'm a bitch, I deserve to die. It got really intense to that point. And that's when I also came across self-harm in middle school. So I started doing that as a coping mechanism, which is common for people with BPD to develop a coping mechanism that is usually not the best, and abusing alcohol or drugs, or my example self-harm is a way that we try to cope with our emotions, but it's not healthy and it's not the best way to go about it. But as a kid, you know, I didn't know anything about borderline personality disorder. I didn't know anything about mental health that much at that point. So I didn't really know how to deal with all these strong emotions, and I didn't know how to tell my parents. I didn't until they, you know, physically saw that I was self-harming, and that's when I started going to therapy around 7th or 8th grade, I believe, is when I started going to therapy, and I've been going to therapy ever since. So pretty much like majority of my life I've been in therapy, which it sounds like a lot, and maybe you might get discouraged, you know, trying certain therapists and things not working. But I've learned over the years that it's really important to find a therapist that you feel comfortable with, that you feel like you can open up to them. And not every therapist is going to be the right therapist for you, and it's okay to stop seeing them and search for a new therapist, because I think it's very important to have one that you really feel like you can tell everything to them and be as honest and open as possible, because that's how you can receive the most help, is to just be as open as possible, which I know can be really hard, talking to a stranger about, you know, suicidal thoughts and your depression and anxiety and all these personal things. But this is their job. This is what they're meant to do. Everything is confidential. They don't share nothing. So to me, that gave me some relief. And I saw it more so as just like a time where I can escape everything and just kind of have someone to vent to. My first therapist I got when I was in 7th or 8th grade was not a good first therapist. There's a lot of things they did that were kind of traumatizing, things they said to me. They weren't really the nicest, and yeah. But I wasn't with that therapist for long, because we eventually moved to California, and then when I was in California, I wasn't getting bullied, which was great, but my mental health was deteriorating like at its peak in California. That's when I first started going on medication. Around my freshman year of high school, I started off medication, and I'm just going to say, with BPD, I feel like maybe I may need medications, because it is a chemical imbalance, and it's okay to take medication. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean anything bad about you. It just, your brain just needs help. It doesn't develop the chemicals that you need to like feel these certain emotions and not feel so out of control. My first meds that I was on were not the correct ones, which is really hard to go through. I didn't get my correct medication and dosage till I was like 19, I was 18 or 19, maybe, yeah, sometime around there after I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, because I knew from my psychiatrist, which is also important to find a good psychiatrist if you were thinking about getting on meds, and also to get the proper diagnosis. It's good to see a good psychiatrist that you also, like a therapist, feel comfortable and feel like they really care about you, and they don't just want to put you on medications. They actually care about your well-being. I'm very fortunate, and I found a psychiatrist that really cares, and they've never pressured medication on me, and we've made adjustments and everything to make it the right fit for me now. Of course, I would love to live a life with no medication, but I have tried previously to go down, at least on certain dosages of meds, but it just turned out to be worse. So I haven't really gotten to a good enough place, I think, to reduce my meds, but my dream would to like not have any medication at all, or just to have like 1 or 2 meds. That would be great. But again, it's not bad to be on medication. Sometimes you need it, and that's okay. But getting introduced to medication, that was pretty scary for me at first, because I don't like taking pills at all. I don't like pills or anything like that. So it was really hard at first to get myself to even take the medication and reminding yourself the times to take it. And now I have like a morning and nighttime like pill container for the whole week, and that's kind of how I stay like organized in our routine. I have meds I take in the morning and meds I take at night. It's important to take your meds consistently and to not just stop taking them because you're feeling better at the moment. You should always first talk to your psychiatrist and slowly decrease the dosage. You never want to just cut off a med because you may experience withdrawals, which I experienced when I was trying to change my medication after getting diagnosed with BPD. I ended up getting taken off a med too quick and I experienced withdrawals. I was severely sick. I felt like I was dying. It was not good, and I had to get put back on the medication and then slowly, like even more slowly, decrease it. And that's the proper way I feel like you should go about changing any medications, is to slowly decrease the dosage just so you don't have withdrawals and like a more intense reaction to the change. But back to my freshman year of getting started on medication, it did help, but I still like wasn't doing good because again, I wasn't on the right meds, and they were treating me for bipolar is what they thought I had, which I don't have bipolar. I have borderline. So, but at the same time, I think they can't diagnose you with borderline until you're 18 of age, which I know can be like frustrating, but I think it has something to do with like your brain getting developed by 18, or I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I wasn't able to really realize what was actually wrong with me or what was going on with me at the time until I was 18, which is unfortunate, but that's just how the way things went for me. I think it was my junior year. I was still in California, and that's when my mental health was really deteriorating at its worst. I was with a psychiatrist and I was with a therapist, but it just wasn't, I wasn't on the right meds, so I probably wasn't getting treated right, hence why things were getting worse. And I ended up getting severely suicidal and had really strong urges to act on it, which I have had previous before my junior year. Around middle school, I had attempted for my first time. I'm not gonna go into detail, but everything worked out. I'm okay. But this time, my junior year, it was more serious, and my family knew about it at the time, and I ended up it was so bad. During a school day, I ended up going to one of my favorite teachers that I felt the most comfortable with. Like, bless her, thank her so much. I feel so bad. Maybe I've traumatized her by coming to this, but I didn't know what to do, so I opened up to her that I was having these strong urges, and I didn't know if I was gonna be safe, if I was gonna be okay. And that's when she brought me down to the main office, and the police people came that, check you to make sure you're not gonna actually kill yourself and stuff. And I talked to them, and it was kind of a blur. Things were really intense, and I ended up getting news that I had to bring myself to the psychiatric hospital myself, or else the police would, because I guess my case, I wasn't safe on my own. So that was my first time being hospitalized in the child's unit. Very traumatic experience. Sorry, Rudy's snoring, but it was a very traumatic experience for me. It was my first time getting blood drawn, and I was all alone. I was with my parents. I was with all these other kids from really young ages to around the age I was, 15 or 16. But yeah, my first night, my introduction to a psychiatric hospital was this little kid having, I would say, an episode. I don't know exactly what was wrong with him or what was going on, but he ended up going so crazy, and the nurses and staff couldn't control him, so they put him in this room. There's an all white padded room, and they gave him a shot. That's like supposed to help, you know, calm them down when I guess nothing else can work. But that was my first morning, and the other kids were like, yeah, don't act like that because you'll end up in that room. But yeah, I ended up connecting with the other kids in the unit, and I developed some close friendships. But yeah, I was able to make friends in the moment, and they definitely helped me get through it. I don't remember exactly how long I was there, but yeah, it was just a lot of learning, like, stuff about your emotions and skills. It's kind of what every experience was for me at a psychiatric hospital. But after that, since things were so unstable for me mentally, us as a family, and for other reasons, we decided to move back to my hometown because we have a lot of family here, and we wanted some family support because I can't blame my parents. Me being undiagnosed with BPD, I was very emotional, chaotic. I was having episodes every night, panic attacks all the time. So I don't blame them coming back here, especially for seeking for more support, and I definitely needed the more support too. Even though it felt so nice being in California, away from like the kids I got bullied from and being away from this town that I hated, it was nice, and I had to come back to it, which was very triggering. And yeah, that's part of my experience. I did still get hospitalized at the psychiatric hospital one more time in the child's unit, and then 2 more times in the adult unit. I have been in there, all for the same reason of just being, you know, very suicidal and not feeling safe by myself. But I am definitely in a much better place now. I'll be completely honest, I still get, you know, intrusive thoughts of not wanting to exist, of not wanting to be here, wishing to disappear. But now, with all the therapy I have done, it's much more manageable, and I much more easily can get myself out of doing these urges and acting on them, and on trying to make the best life I can for myself, and trying to just help myself as much as possible. Because at the end of the day, it's really hard, but you got to be the one to take care of yourself and really push yourself to get through this and all this therapy, because it will be worth it at the end. Like, I think it's so worth it. I'm doing so much better. Again, I still have episodes, and I may still, you know, end up getting hospitalized, hopefully not. That's not my goal, but if it were to happen again, I've learned from doctors and my therapists and psychiatrists that it's okay, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean all the work that you've done of therapy, if you were to say relapse in self-harm or relapse in trying to act on suicidal urges, and you end up being hospitalized again, it's okay, and it doesn't take away any of your progress. It doesn't mean you're starting from ground zero, because you still have all those skills that you've learned. It's just healing is never a straight up motion. It's like a roller coaster. You get high moments and really low moments, and high moments again and really low. And I know with BPD, it's very fast. You can feel amazing and at your top 1 minute, and then 5 minutes later, you don't want to exist. It's very to the extremes with our emotions, but that's normal for people with BPD. That's just the symptom that we have, is really intense emotions. When I turned 18, I was able to get diagnosed with BPD, and it was very scary at first. I had no idea what this disorder was. I've never heard of it before, but when I looked into it afterwards, I was reading the symptoms and things that people with BPD experience, and it was literally like, oh my god, there's actually a thing for what I'm experiencing. There's like a name for it. Like, I'm not going crazy. I'm not just like you know, losing my mind. This is like actually a disorder, and I can help and try to fix it. And it was really relieving, but at the same time it also was very scary, because at first it does seem like there's no hope to get better. It feels like there is no exact cure to cure BPD, but I believe going to therapy and doing certain therapy programs can definitely help manage your emotions and make life much more enjoyable and less miserable and just less dark, and just bring light into your life. For me, I would say the biggest therapy programs that have helped me the most is definitely the DBT therapy, which I think it means dialect behavioral therapy. If you can, I know it's very hard to access therapy sometimes, especially if you don't have the money for it. I'm very fortunate, and my parents are helpful with me and help me pay for therapy and my medication. Thank goodness. But I will share some skills that I've learned from this book specifically, so at least I can share some things if, you know, you're unable to access a program specifically with DBT, because I know I had to specifically find a certain one, and it was some distance, and there was also a wait time. I think I waited really long, probably a year I waited, and then I got accepted into it and was able to join, because you have to wait for other people to get out of the program so then you have a place to come in. Oh, Rudy's saying hi. He likes to be under the blanket, so I'm just gonna put him under the blankets. Okay. But I'm gonna share some main tips that I've learned from this that helped me, and I'm also gonna answer some questions from my Instagram that you guys sent me. I have them written down, so yeah, let's get into that. So I'm gonna start off with sharing some skills. I'm not sharing all the skills because there's tons in this handout and all these worksheets it has, but I'm just gonna share the ones that really help me the most, especially when I'm having an episode and my stress level is very high. There's certain skills that are meant just for those certain times I will share, because they do help me. I would say one of the biggest skills that I had to work on a lot is willingness to attend my therapy program on my laptop, because it was during COVID, so we had to do it all online. And I was with a group of people, and it was like an hour or so a day. I had to have the willingness to do that, because I admit I was very willful, and I easily got myself so anxious and scared, you know, talking in front of all these people and answering these questions. I would scare myself out of the therapy program and end up just leaving, which, you know, I shouldn't do, because this is meant to help me. So I need to have the willingness to push myself forward to attend these groups so then I can get better, because it's the right thing to do, is to help yourself. And it takes a lot of inner strength, I would say, to have willingness for things and to not be willful, because a lot of the times, especially in our emotion mind, we are willful to do things that may help us because we are already in such a sad and stressful state. We don't want to even exist. We don't want to do anything. We feel so helpless and worthless. It's like, what's a skill gonna do? What's therapy gonna do? Like, I already don't even want to be here. But I'm telling you, the stuff I'm gonna share, it does help. And the more you practice it, the better it'll get for you to just go to it on your own when you're experiencing these emotions. And it will like wire your brain to use these skills instead of acting on your emotional and intrusive urges and stuff. But yes, willingness is definitely a huge thing. You cannot be willful. You have to go and do this. It is going to help you, and your future self will thank you so much. And now I'm going to share some crisis survival skills, which is when you're in super high stress levels. These are some skills you should use. One of them I liked that I learned was we want to be in wise mind. A lot of the time is what we want to do. We have on one side emotional mind and then rational mind, and then there's a mix between them that's called wise mind. So rational, you list all the facts of the situation, of what you're going through. And then emotional mind, you list your thoughts and feelings, but make sure you list the ones that aren't facts, that are just your feelings. And then you look in the wise mind and you put them both together to try to make the best decision for yourself. And I think in the process of making this list, it helps reduce your intensity of your emotions and stuff. The next skill I'll share, this one helps me the most when I'm having an intense episode. I cannot come down, nothing is helping me. My boyfriend may be on the phone with me trying to give me tips on how to help, but I'm not listening to any of them. I have a response to everything because my BPD is letting my emotions get so intense to the point where nothing is really registering in my mind because I'm so dysregulated. So the tip skill is what I use, and it's by changing body chemistry, which can help reduce your emotions. The T stands for tip the temperature of your face with cold water. This one is the one that I use very often if things are very intense and I can't get myself to do anything and I'm really wanting to act on an urge that is not good for me, but I'm wanting to act on it because the emotions I'm in now. But thinking of in wise mind and reminding yourself of your skills, think of this tip skill and put your face in cold water. It does not sound fun, but literally I think it's proven through science that if you put your face immediately in super cold water, it snaps you out of your emotions and kind of makes you focus on all of this intense cold water that's on your face, and it brings you back for a moment. And sometimes you may have to do it, again and again, but this really does help a lot with coming back to being more stable. Another one for the tip skill, the I stands for intense exercise, which I talked to my therapist last time, and my last episode I kind of did this without even realizing it. I was in the bathroom having an episode. Everything was so intense and I was being willful with the cold water, which is not good, but I was like, I can't do this cold water. I was kind of so dysregulated, I couldn't even get myself to turn on the water. So instead, I just started doing high jumps, just started jumping in place, really intense, jumps, but only for a short period of time to get myself to not act on a negative urge. And it did work, it did help. So any sort of intense exercise for a short amount of time can really help, running in place really fast or doing jumping jacks really fast for a little bit can help bring your mind back to a more regulated state. And then for the P in tip, it stands for paced breathing. I use this every single day. It's just something I do now because I use it so often and it's really helpful. For my paced breathing, I inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, and exhale for 7 seconds. And I just keep repeating this breathing, and over time it does really help you relax and bring your stress level down. Another skill that is helpful is the distracting skills, which you can do with activities or sensations. Basically, the best thing when you're having these urges is to distract your mind, because usually when I'm sitting alone in my room, that's when I be thinking the most, and that's when my stress gets the most high, is when I just let myself sit and just keep ruminating on these thoughts and the sadness that I'm experiencing. I may think, okay, I gotta distract myself, And with activities, some things I like to do is clean my room, I'll do the dishes, I'll vacuum upstairs or my bedroom or the bathroom, I'll go for a walk, I take Rudy for a walk, or watch my favorite show, or play a video game. And I know growing up, my parents are like, don't play so much video games, it's not good for you. But my therapist said that video games are very, very helpful, and it's a very healthy, distracting skill to use. Like playing Animal Crossing or Sims, for example, because when you're playing it, you're distracted and you're focused more on the game. So you can play some games to help distract you. For the sensations, stuff that helps me is to take a hot or cold shower, or I take a hot bath. I like to take baths. Baths help distract me. And another one is listening to loud music, like playing your favorite songs on blast and just like being into the music and focusing on it and just dancing to it, you know, just enjoying your favorite song. But having it super loud, it's like, it's too loud to like think about all the sad stuff right now. You like just focus on your favorite song. And another skill that is similar is the self-soothing skills, which I love to use all the time. You use them with your vision, hearing, smell, taste, or touch. For vision, self-soothing, watching your favorite show, again, for an example. For hearing, listen to your favorite song, listen to a podcast that you like to listen to that helps relax you. For smell, light a candle, light your favorite candle that you love the smell of. Maybe go outside and go buy flowers and smell the flowers. Or with taste, I like to eat dark chocolate to help self-soothe and distract me. You take a bite and you just slowly eat it and really focus on the taste, the texture, and just how you like love whatever you're eating. That can be helpful. And then touch, what helps me the most is like getting into PJs. Since I do struggle with sensory stuff, I'm very sensitive to feeling certain things, or I can feel like my skin just doesn't feel good and my hair touching my skin. I just like things like that. Changing into clean clothes or to PJs, or getting into like a cozy blanket, or just laying in bed for a second. These are all types of the soothing skills that can really help distract you. Another skill that is very, very huge that I use pretty much every day is radical acceptance, which is basically, as it sounds, you just radically accept the situation. For example, one stuff that would really upset me and trigger me is with, say I would set up a plan with someone or a date and then it gets canceled or the plans just don't work out. Immediately my mind would go to, it's canceled and ended because of me, it's my fault, I'm in trouble for this, I'm not a good enough person, this happened because I'm worthless, stuff, all these intrusive thoughts start coming. But the best thing to do in that moment is to think of radical acceptance, just be like, you know what, this has nothing to do with me, the plans were canceled for whatever reason, maybe they just couldn't make it, but you gotta radically accept that the plans are canceled, and that's it, rather than sitting on it and like ruminating on it and letting it just get to you and destroy you even more. Just try your best to radically accept and try to move on from it, which is easier said than done, I know, because I had to, practice radical acceptance for a very long time. But again, the more you use these skills, the more your brain is going to go straight to it to help you in those moments when you need to use skills. So just keep practicing and they will get easier and more helpful. A reminder that I have that helps me a lot is to remember that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just thoughts. I know you may believe it's my thought, therefore that describes me and that's who I am, which is not true. Everybody can have intrusive thoughts and bad thoughts about themselves, or thoughts of guilt or shame, and you may base yourself off these things, but those thoughts are just thoughts. You are your actions and the words you say. So therefore, a thing that helps me, that I learned in this DBT therapy program, was to envision all these thoughts, all these intrusive thoughts. Pretend, this may sound funny, but pretend you're looking up at the sky and each thought is a cloud, and the cloud, just watch the cloud slowly pass by, like as it does, you know, in the sky, and just watch the thought pass by. You can acknowledge it, like, okay, that's the thought I'm having, and just let it go. Just let it flow away next and go on to the next thing, which definitely helped me a lot when I have intrusive thoughts like I'm worthless, things like that. I would look at it, acknowledge that's a thought, but that does not describe me. That does not mean I'm worthless. My thoughts are not a fact. And I try to envision the thought just going away or coming in my brain and then out my brain. I don't know, for me, visualizing things helps me a lot, so that's a skill that I like to use. Another topic that I really wanted to talk about that I experience a lot with my BPD is chronic emptiness. It's more than just like feeling empty or bored, because it also has something to do with boredom. People with BPD, the emptiness we feel it like inside of us, feel like we just feel hollow and like almost unreal, like derealization and depersonalization, with feeling like detached, disconnected to your own being. It causes you to just always feel empty, this chronic emptiness. You feel hollow, you feel a lack of purpose. You're externally seeking from others to feel whole, which I will dive into later. Relationships, for a big example. Being with someone, people with BPD tend to put their like all on this person, which is called like a favorite person, which is somebody that someone BPD has where they feel the closest to, and they kind of put them on a pedestal and to tend to find themselves in this person, or find themselves, like it's not really you. We tend to mimic our partner's interests and stuff, trying to fill up who we are with what our partner is, so then also they will like us more and they won't leave us because we're just like them. Or another feeling with chronic emptiness is yearning for love and acceptance. It's like a very sharp feeling and you feel just of uselessness and isolation. Those are all the symptoms I wrote down about the chronic emptiness. But how to help this, I wrote down some notes, is how to defeat the emptiness. 1, stop procrastinating. So for example, for me, I have these dreams and passions to do these things that I want to do, like life worth living goals and my values. It's important to act on them and to do them and to chase your dreams and to not procrastinate or talk yourself out of it or talk yourself down, because you can achieve anything you put your mind to. Another way to defeat this emptiness is daily routines, which I have to do. I have a little planner that I write down at least write down like 5 things that I have to do during the next day or so on. And throughout the day, I'll check the stuff that I do, and I kind of have just like a very routine of how my daily life goes. Just having the routine and structure really helps me feel less anxious, helps me feel more stable and more like in control of, my mind, and not so feeling like, oh, I'm gonna get so dysregulated, I'm not gonna know what to do, because the boredom leads to the emptiness feeling, and then that leads to like self urges to do things that are not good. So having a routine is very important. Another one is to expand your social circle, which for me is very, very hard in real life. On the internet, I feel like I have a much easier time talking to people, but in real life, I have like 3 friends, and then I have my boyfriend and my family, which I've been working my whole life on my relationship with my family. I think it's important to talk about the relationship with your family, with your therapist if you have BPD, because I know a lot of struggles that you can have with your parents or siblings, and it's just helpful to communicate about that. But expanding your social circle with people who support and validate your symptoms, so people that don't just make fun of your BPD or not acknowledge it. You need someone who knows what you're going through, is willing to listen to you and support you, and you just need nice people who will also be there to push you to achieve your goals. Because I would say I definitely need the people that do push me. I'm so grateful for all of them, because I really wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for them. Especially, like, for example, my boyfriend. When I met him, he found some of my songs on SoundCloud that I did, but I stopped doing it because I didn't really believe in myself, and I kind of talked myself down on it. And he listened to them and immediately thought, like, oh, like, your voice is so good, like, you need to make music, like, I think that's what you're meant to do. And my whole life, that was my dream, to sing. So he actually got me to, you know, get back into it and actually give it a shot. Now I have like music videos out, which is like insane, and I'm working on my first EP, which is crazy. But yeah, that, for example, he definitely helped push me to, you know, achieve my goals and just give me that extra like reassurance that I got this. Because I know people with BPD, we have so much like self-hate and shame towards ourselves. We can talk ourselves down and out of anything. So having other people to be there to support you is very, very helpful, especially to defeat the chronic emptiness. The next and last thing is to resist the feeling of shame. For example, I feel extreme shame all the time. I feel ashamed for having BPD. I feel ashamed that I have medication, therapy my parents have to pay for, or else I won't be okay mentally. I feel ashamed I can't perform at a normal job because of my mental illness. I can't, you know, do certain things as easily as others. It takes a lot more work for me to do simple things like go outside around people. Going to the grocery store is hell for me. I like get so overwhelmed and easily have, you know, anxiety attacks. I have to resist that feel of shame, because this is not your fault. This is not something you chose. You did not choose to have BPD. You did not choose to have these symptoms. These are all symptoms that you have, but you did not choose this. It was out of your control. So therefore, you need to I need to really work on being kinder to yourself and not being so hard on yourself, feeling so much shame, because really you shouldn't feel ashamed at all. You're trying your best. I love you for trying, guys. The fact that you're trying is like better than anything. Just trying to do something to help yourself. And I believe in you, and you guys got this. And hopefully these skills and tips I'm sharing can be helpful. But yeah, that's the things I had on feelings of chronic emptiness and how to deal with that. But now I'm going to go into some like questions you guys have asked me. Now to start with the questions, was it difficult to get diagnosed? Yes, as I mentioned previously, I couldn't get diagnosed until I was 18, so I was misdiagnosed my life leading up to that, which was very unfortunate. I know it is difficult to get diagnosed. I believe if you go to a good psychiatrist and you tell them exactly how you're feeling, you should be able to get the help you need. But I do think there is the thing that you need to be 18 to get diagnosed. But you may be able to get diagnosed younger. I'm not sure exactly if anything's changed since then, but that's how it was for me to get diagnosed. Question 2, how to find yourself in hobbies and interests. Self-image issues is a huge thing in BPD, I believe. It's something I really struggle with. I'll like something for a certain time, and then all of a sudden I'll completely change and I don't like it no more and I like something else. It's very important to try as many hobbies and things as you can. That's kind of what I did, is I tried so many, like for style, for example, aesthetics and stuff, and now I'm at that point where I just kind of, you know, made my own and just mixed everything and just wear what I love. So I've kind of found myself more, you know, in my style. But with interests, I feel like it's important to try new things. You never know what you may love to do. Just trying to find new interests is helpful. And just give yourself patience and kindness while you're trying to find yourself through things in life. And yeah, and if you change and your mind changes, that's okay. I feel like we change every day, some way, shape, or form. We're changing consistently, but that's not a bad thing. Change is good, and you should embrace it, and just, yeah, don't be scared to try new things. Number 3, how to find yourself after a breakup. This I can really talk about. Last relationship was very traumatizing how it ended. Over text, randomly one morning, I just got a big paragraph saying, I'm no longer into you. I haven't been that into you the past couple months. So yeah, I don't want to be with you no more. We were like together for almost 2 years, and he never once expressed any of this to me. So it was completely a shock. I definitely felt like the world was ending, like I was dying. I was in so much physical pain. I could not eat. I was struggling to sleep. I was completely losing myself. I remember just being like, I don't even want to be in my room because he's in my room. And my mom's like, Adeline, like, this is your room. This is your safe space. And you need to claim it back. This isn't somebody else. And I was kind of, you know, letting him control my life and doing what made him happy, doing activities that he liked to do only. I wasn't really allowed to do things that I love to do. I kind of had to do his certain thing, or else I was terrified he would leave me and abandon me. And that happened anyways. So I just feel like with relationships with BPD, it's really important to have a good mix of your own time and time with your partner. Even if you live together, try to have time, you know, when you're doing your own hobbies and they're doing their own hobbies. And it's important to also find someone, especially with BPD, someone that is genuine. And I know it's very hard to figure this out because boys can be good liars, or girls too. People can be really manipulative, especially towards people with BPD. They may, you know, just see you as like lower than them already. Or I know also some people romanticize or fetishize people with BPD, which is absolutely disgusting. Do not be with someone like that. They do not have your best interests at heart. But it's important to find someone that supports what you love, so pushes you to reach your goals, accepts you for who you are. My boyfriend now, Demi, first found out about me having BPD, he had no idea what it was. It happened till on his own time, which I'm very, you know, grateful I found someone, you know, as sweet and as special as him. He did his own research on his own and looked up, you know, the symptoms and what life is like for people with BPD, which is literally the most simplest, sweetest thing I think a partner could do when they're with someone with BPD, is to just look it up, is to just try to understand, so you don't be like, what's going on? Why are they acting this way? They're so dramatic, they're so blah blah blah. It's a disorder. And having someone that genuinely really cares and is willing to help you and is willing to, you know, just be there for you through your hard times just as much as you're willing to be through their hard times, it's very important that they give you that love back. Right after a breakup, as I said, it was really hard. I kind of had to start all over. I had like a huge transformation. I like changed my hair. I like redecorated my whole room, rearranged it. I again started getting back into fashion and back into like what I'm really into, and not just dressing for somebody's appeal but for my appeal. I started manifesting, which I love to do, manifesting down like goals I have for myself, things that I want to happen in the future. Writing down affirmations was really helpful. Just spending time with yourself, I think, is very helpful too. Just being with yourself and learning what you love, what you really love, and what you don't like. Reading new books, trying new shows, trying to experience new things, and in search to try to find yourself. And I believe after the breakup, you should try to give yourself, the necessary time to get to that state where you feel like stable and like you got this. I'm not trying to say you have to be completely healed to be in a relationship, which is not true. I am not completely healed. I'm always going through stuff, and like we all go through things. It's life. And the person that's right for you will love you, and no matter what you're going through. And they can really help you heal. At the same time though, you don't want to rely everything on this other person, because that is putting so much on them. Like us, we know, because we have BPD, how much it is, and it's good to vent and to communicate about your emotions and to really just be open about what you're experiencing and how things affect you with your partner. But at the same time, don't expect them to like be the answer to everything, be the thing that's going to solve your mental illness, because that's not what's going to happen. You're still going to have, this mental illness that you have to deal with, and it's important to help yourself, but also it's very, very helpful to have someone, especially your partner, that is willing to help you and be supportive and loving towards you. So yeah, after a breakup, just be patient with yourself, write down things you love, try new things, and just really try to connect back with yourself and realize this breakup is, breakups happen. I feel like things happen for a reason, and that just means you deserve something so much better. You can also be with your person even if you're not healed, because there's no really healed, all things are done answer. It's just important to really take care of yourself and give you the self-love that you probably weren't giving to yourself with the previous relationship. Since you kind of put all of your priorities onto the partner, try to put those priorities now onto yourself. Next question, phrases I like to remind myself during intense feelings. I have a certain phrase that I be saying like all the time, just randomly. If I'm feeling super anxious, during intense feelings, I'll just repeat to myself, everything's okay. Everything's okay. For me, just like repeating the phrase, it really helps reduce the anxiety and the intense emotions. Everything's gonna be okay. I've been through so much worse. I've been through this and that, and I'm okay now. So I'm gonna be able to get through this. Just like reminding yourself of all the things you've gone through and how you came out of it alive when you thought you probably wouldn't, I feel like that's something that helps me a lot. That's what I like to remind myself, is everything's okay. And I let my family and my boyfriend know if I'm ever like anxious or having an episode, the thing that helps me the most is just tell me everything's okay. Like, just tell me everything's okay. And it does help. It helps me a lot. Next question, what's the process of getting diagnosed? For me, it was a very long process since I got a psychiatrist at a very young age, and I had to wait till I was 18 to get diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. But I feel like the best way to explain the process is to find a good psychiatrist that really cares about your well-being and is not just, putting you on meds or getting you just this and that, like make sure you look into the psychiatrist. You sit down, set an appointment, and you express to them everything you're going through, all your symptoms, what your daily life is like, how many times are you having anxiety attacks, how many times do you have episodes, and just try to be as honest as possible, because that's what's going to help you the most. And they will give you a diagnosis if they feel like you have one, and if they don't, but you really feel like you do, you can still talk to them, like talk about, why they don't think you have it or why they think you have it. I think that's the best process, is just getting a good psychiatrist and setting an appointment to see if you are diagnosed with anything. Next question, can you explain how you see and feel like living? Don't know if I'm feeling or seeing things the right way. I feel like this may have to do with like the depersonalization and derealization, just not feeling real or present. I experience a lot. There's one skill I didn't mention that really helps me, and it's called check the facts. So like this, for example, say you're not feeling real, you feel like you don't exist. It's important to like check the facts, like I am alive, I can feel myself, I see myself in the mirror, even though it doesn't, I'm not really connecting to it right now. I am alive. I can eat, I can drink, I can breathe. Another example for checking the facts is, someone cancels plans. You may immediately think, it's my fault, they hate me, they don't want to see me, they're trying to like not be my friend, they're trying to like sabotage something. But when you check the facts about that person, be like, the fact is that we're friends, and they told me they care about me and they wanted to hang out. So that's the fact, is that they wanted to hang out. Yes, another fact is it got canceled, but it's not a fact that they hate me. It's not a fact that they canceled this because they think I'm annoying or something, unless they actually told you that themselves. 'Cause I know we be just having these intrusive thoughts of what we think people are thinking about us. Checking the facts really helps me so much with everything. Like if I'm having a random anxiety attack, thinking like I'm just gonna explode and die, which is a thing I do experience sometimes, I check the fact I'm not going to explode and die. I don't have explosives on me. I am safe. I'm, wherever I'm at, I'm in my room. There isn't anything that's gonna explode. Like, that's facts. And the facts are supposed to challenge your intrusive thoughts to bring you back to like more of like reality and out of your brain and out of all these thoughts that are going crazy in your head. Explain more how you see and feel. I would say I just feel things really, really strongly. I've read some quote someone said, saying like, people with BPD, it's like having all your skin off and just having all your nerves exposed to everything, which I really kind of like agree to an extent, that that's kind of how it feels like. Things can also be physically painful, which I know some people that don't have BPD would be like, what? Like, when I get sad, my heart isn't actually like hurting, like I don't feel like I'm gonna die. But like, say to break up, I actually felt legit pain, physical pain in my body, in my chest, in my head. I felt so intense up and stressed, just like physical pain. I feel is like something we experience with our emotions that some people may not experience. Another thing with like feeling really happy, we may experience it to the very intense happiness, like I'm better, I don't have BPD, like I don't need this, I don't need therapy, like I'm good, like. But when we come down from this super high emotion, we're like, oh, like I'm not good, I'm not doing good. But don't beat yourself up about that when you be coming down from really high moments, because you're working on yourself and you're putting all the effort you need to help yourself. And this is life, and it's normal to have roller coaster emotions, especially with BPD. That's just kind of how it is. But using like all these skills I've listed, hopefully you can remember to use them, and they can just help you manage these urges and manage these intrusive thoughts more, so you can have a more enjoyable life, have a more happy life. I know for the longest time I didn't think I was gonna make it to 13. I didn't think I was gonna then make it to 18, and now my birthday is like next week and I'm about to be 24. Like, what the actual fuck? It's still like unreal to me that I am existing and I'm alive, because I never pictured a future for myself. I never visioned myself getting to this age or being older. But now that I'm like here, it's kind of like really crazy to me. So that's something that I'm experiencing with like aging. It's just kind of really weird, like when for so long you were so in a dark place, that you were like super like not determined, but like you knew that like you were thinking life's not gonna get better, I'm gonna You might even set a date. I'm gonna end it this date, which I have done in the past. But don't do that. Do not set a date. Things can get better, and I hope this video can do like some helps. Like, I just hope it helps in some way, because these are things that have really changed my life, and just therapy in general has changed my life. I still go to therapy. I am at a good enough place now that I go to therapy like every 2 weeks, which is like a huge accomplishment for me. I used to be going to therapy 2 to 3 times a week. So for every 2 weeks now, that's like crazy. But I think that's to show like maybe I can be the example that like things can get better, and you know, it's not like everything just, you know, goes away and we're like cured, but life can be so much more enjoyable than you're experiencing it now if you just, you know, learn the right skills and get the right things to help you out. Because really we just need help. We don't know how to cope with what we're going through, and we just need that education and support and validation from people to like help us realize that we can get better and we deserve to be better. We deserve love and care, you know. We're not bad people. You don't have to live this way. There is ways to help, and I know it may feel like, you know, this is a lie, this is a joke, nothing's gonna help, because I tried all of this and that never helped. But I feel like maybe if you get what I'm sharing, you just give it a try, like really give it a try, and like try it every day for like a week straight at least, like, because you really have to practice these skills for your brain to like just go to them for it to use. Also, the DBT therapy, dialect behavioral therapy, that's huge for BPD. That is like the best therapy program that has helped me. Also, while I was in this program, the therapist I had also did exposure therapy with me, which I will say is not the easiest. It was very intense and very, you know, very hard. But I did that for my PTSD because it was really bad at a point where I had auditory and visual hallucinations from PTSD, which I know can be also another mental illness you can have with BPD. Also, don't feel bad if you have like all these mental illnesses. It doesn't make you any less of a good person than anyone else. You're just as important, and you deserve just as much love as anyone else. That's kind of like everything that I wrote down. I feel like I got most of the questions. I feel like I've just been rambling, talking and talking, but I hope this all makes sense. I hope these skills, maybe you were like writing them down as I was sharing them, but they can really, really help. And especially with the DBT, maybe like if you can buy this book, I don't know if they sell it, but I got it from the group. But any book like this can really help, because they have like worksheets in here for you to put your own personal examples for things and how to use the certain skill for your certain situation. And there's so many skills. Like, these are just the ones that helped me the most and that I still use to this day, and I just kind of go straight towards to use to help me. Yeah, that's everything I think I have to say for this BPD. I hope to talk more about BPD because it makes me happy, you know, trying to help others. I love when you guys reach out and message me that I'm helping you in some way. It literally like gives me a sense of purpose with my BPD. It makes me feel like, you know, I have a purpose and what I'm doing, it's the right path and it's, you know, all gonna work out. But yeah, thanks again for coming to my channel. Again, I hope this really helped you guys in any way. If you have any more questions or certain topics you would like me to go into detail about when it comes to symptoms or other things with borderline personality disorder, please comment, because I would love to make more videos about this if it, you know, can help people, because I didn't really have someone, you know, that had BPD that like knew what it was going like. This was so like kind of like isolating, going through this whole process of my life of just experiencing this disorder. I just feel so alone, but you are not alone. Other people have this, and I'm one of them. Like, it's funny, I've seen people be like, I had no idea you had borderline. Like, you seem so happy. Which I would say, you know, everything you see online isn't the truth. It's the best parts, you know, of my life that I share. But I want to be vulnerable and share the hard times too, to help others, you know, see if I can help anyone. But yeah, don't be afraid to message if you have any questions. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. I love you angels all so much, and have a nice day or night. And yeah, thank you. Bye.